The Chicago Bears are heading out west for another crucial matchup, this time against the Las Vegas Raiders, and the stakes could not be much higher. After finally picking up that much-needed win last week to improve to 1 victory and 2 defeats, this game offers the chance to get back to an even record before heading into the bye week. For the Raiders, the scenario is very similar. They started their season with a promising win in Week 1, but have since dropped 2 straight and now find themselves searching for answers. Both of these teams are in a position where dropping to 1 win and 3 losses would dig an ugly hole that is very difficult to climb out of. That is exactly why the expectation is that both squads will bring everything they have in this battle under the lights of Allegiant Stadium. When you look at the Bears, there are clear signs of growth, even with a small sample size through 3 games. The team is averaging just under 25 points per contest, which is among the top 10 marks in the league at this stage of the year. The defense, on the other hand, has had major ups and downs. Statistically, it sits at the very bottom in points allowed per game, but that is the kind of number that can swing quickly if the unit strings together a couple of strong outings. A huge positive from last week was the turnover margin. After forcing 4 takeaways while not committing a single giveaway, the Bears have improved to +2 on the season, tied for one of the best figures across the NFL. Add to that their excellent third down production on both sides of the ball, and you begin to see some of the building blocks that can make this group more competitive as the season develops. The Raiders, on the other hand, are fighting a very different battle. Offensively, they have struggled badly to put points on the board, ranking near the bottom of the league at just under 18 per game. Much of that has to do with an offensive line that has not been able to generate consistency, whether in the running game or in pass protection. Their feature back Ashton Jenney has not been able to find space, often hit behind the line of scrimmage before he has the chance to get going. Quarterback Geno Smith has also been under pressure far too often and has been careless with the football at times, leading to a negative turnover margin. Their defense, while not elite, has managed to keep them in games, ranking in the middle of the pack. Still, when you combine offensive struggles with a tendency to give the ball away, it becomes a difficult formula to sustain over a long season. Injuries are also a story worth monitoring. For the Bears, offensive weapon Colton Loveland is dealing with a hip issue, though the early word is that it is not serious. His status will be determined later in the week, but even a short absence would be a blow. On defense, both Kyler Gordon and TJ Edwards are trending toward missing another game, which leaves the secondary shorthanded. Jalen Jones and DeMarco Jackson are also nursing hamstring issues, adding to the concerns in the depth chart. For the Raiders, the injury list is shorter but tight. Michael Mayer suffered a concussion in Week 3, and his availability remains uncertain. Mayer had been developing strong chemistry as a secondary target, so his absence would change the dynamic of their offense. When comparing the 2 head coaches, it is still early in the tenure of Ben Johnson, and while Pete Carroll brings decades of experience and credibility, the fresh energy and innovation of Johnson has been noticed around the league. At quarterback, the Bears hold the clear advantage with Caleb Williams. The rookie has taken better care of the ball, is more dangerous with his legs, and has shown a poise that Geno Smith has lacked in recent weeks. Williams has been efficient and accurate, especially when pushing the ball down the field, while Smith's production has largely come in situations when the game was already slipping away. Looking at the skill positions, the Bears also appear to be in a stronger place. Wide receiver Luther Burden had his first career 100-yard game last week, showing flashes of being a true difference maker. Rome Odunze continues to be a reliable target, and the overall depth in the receiving room gives Chicago more versatility than Las Vegas. The Raiders certainly have capable players like Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker, and they can be dangerous in spurts, but the Bears group has a higher ceiling. At tight end, Brock Bowers gives the Raiders an edge in individual talent, but across the board the Bears' weapons tilt the scale in their favor. On the offensive line, Chicago again looks better positioned. While not perfect, the unit is improving. Braxton Jones had his best outing of the season. Darnell Wright has shown progress aside from some costly penalties, and the addition of veteran Joe Thuney has solidified the interior. The Raiders' line, meanwhile, has been a major liability, with only Colton Miller performing at a high level while the rest of the group has been inconsistent at best. That has created huge problems for both the running game and for Geno Smith staying upright. The defensive line comparison is more balanced. Las Vegas boasts one of the best edge rushers in the league in Max Crosby, and his ability to wreck games is undeniable. Beyond Crosby, however, the Raiders' front does not have the same depth, whereas the Bears can roll out multiple contributors. For that reason, it feels fair to call this matchup even. Linebackers lean in favor of Chicago. Even without Edwards, Tremaine Edmunds has stepped up in a big way, and Noah Sewell has shown he can be an impact player against the run. The Raiders have some solid performers, but the Bears' top-end talent gives them the edge. In the secondary, both teams have vulnerabilities. Injuries have weakened Chicago's group, and while the Raiders have struggled to cover consistently, they are at least healthier. Without Kyler Gordon, the Bears lack a true difference-maker on the back end. This is another area that feels like a push, as both units have something to prove. Special teams, too, is fairly even, with neither side showing major strengths or glaring weaknesses. So, when you break it down across the board, the Bears hold the advantage at quarterback in their receiving group and along the offensive line, which are three critical areas that often determine who wins on Sundays. If Caleb Williams continues to make plays, if the receivers win their matchups against a shaky secondary, and if the line gives enough time, Chicago has every reason to believe they can walk into Las Vegas and steal another win. One of the most encouraging developments for Chicago has been the growth of Caleb Williams in the deep passing game. A year ago, the Bears were hesitant to test defenses vertically, and when they did, the results were inconsistent at best. This season, however, the rookie quarterback has embraced that element of his skill set, delivering accurate strikes down the field and opening up the playbook in ways fans have been waiting to see. He has connected on nearly half of his throws, traveling more than 20 yards through the air, with multiple drops preventing that percentage from being even higher. Those completions have gone for over 200 yards and a pair of touchdowns with no interceptions. His passing grade in that area ranks among the league's best, which is a remarkable shift from where Chicago's offense has been in recent years. The throw that best encapsulated his arm talent came against Dallas, when he launched a 62-yard pass flat-footed that landed perfectly in stride with Luther Burden. Very few quarterbacks in the world can even attempt that throw, let alone place it so accurately. This newfound ability to threaten defenses vertically forces opponents to respect every blade of grass, which in turn opens up space for the run game and short passing attack. For this matchup, that deep passing element could be decisive. The Raiders' defense lacks a true free safety with the range to cover the back end. Jeremy Chin is more comfortable playing closer to the line, and the options they have rotated at deep safety are backups who can be targeted. That vulnerability is an invitation for Chicago to dial up double moves, layered route concepts, and vertical shots designed to stretch the secondary beyond its limits. Their cornerbacks, while competitive, do not present an intimidating challenge for Williams and his receivers. That is why Ben Johnson is likely to keep looking for explosive plays downfield. If Chicago connects early, it could force the Raiders into a game script they're not built to handle. Of course, generating pressure on Geno Smith will be just as important as scoring points. Teams that have slowed down Las Vegas have done so by rushing 4 defenders and dropping 7 into coverage. That formula has consistently caused problems for Smith, who has not handled 4-man pressure well this year. Under those situations, he has completed fewer than half of his throws, thrown just 1 touchdown against 1 interception, and has been sacked a dozen times. His passer rating in those moments is among the worst in the league. That makes it clear what the Bears must do: find ways to collapse the pocket with their front 4. Last week offered a glimpse of progress, as Montez Sweat delivered constant pressure, Javon Dexter registered multiple hurries, and even veteran Grady Jarrett flashed with disruptive snaps. If those players can replicate that effort, Chicago can stress Smith without having to blitz, which is important because Geno has historically punished aggressive blitz schemes. Dropping extra defenders into coverage also helps protect a secondary that is already thin due to injuries. Containing Trey Tucker is another priority. The young receiver is not yet a household name, but his speed and explosiveness can turn a game upside down. Against Washington, he erupted for 8 catches, 145 yards, and 3 touchdowns, showcasing just how dangerous he can be if given space. His straight-line speed forces defenses to account for him at all times. Chicago's corners are not ideally matched for this type of weapon. Tariq Stevenson, with his long frame and physical style, can struggle against smaller, quicker receivers. Jalen Wright has the size to challenge bigger wideouts, but chasing a player like Tucker across the field is not his strength. This is where the absence of Kyler Gordon looms large, as he is the type of defender who could shadow Tucker more effectively. Without him, the Bears may need to bracket the speedy receiver with safety help over the top, ensuring he does not break loose for another back-breaking long touchdown. Allowing Tucker to get behind the defense would shift the entire momentum of the game. Another deciding factor will be the rushing battle. Neither team has been efficient on the ground so far. The Bears' running backs are averaging barely more than 3 yards per attempt, while Ashton Jenney has been bottled up despite showing toughness to break tackles behind the line. He has managed to turn losses into short gains, but the explosive runs have been missing. For Chicago, if the offensive line can generate even a modest push and allow the backs to stay on schedule, it would balance the attack and take pressure off Williams. Conversely, slowing down Jenney early would force Geno Smith into obvious passing situations where he has been vulnerable. Winning the ground game does not necessarily mean racking up huge yardage totals, but rather being more efficient and consistent than the opponent. Turning 2nd and 9 into 2nd and 6 is the kind of difference that can swing a drive in your favor. Starting fast is another theme that has emerged. Geno Smith has shown signs of pressing when the Raiders fall behind. In recent games, when facing early deficits, he has forced throws that resulted in turnovers or empty possessions. Against the Chargers, that meant unnecessary interceptions. Against Washington, it meant inefficient drives while chasing the scoreboard. For the Bears, jumping out to a 7 or 10-point lead would not only boost their own confidence, but also apply pressure on a Raiders team already on edge from 2 consecutive losses. With a large contingent of Chicago fans expected to travel to Las Vegas, the environment might not be as hostile as most road games. That means an early punch could tilt momentum heavily in the Bears' direction. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are circulating in the NFL world, and it seems the latest shockwave comes straight from Shedeur Sanders himself. The young quarterback, son of the legendary Deion Sanders, recently caused quite a stir during what many are calling an unexpected interview. When asked about the possibility of suiting up for the Chicago Bears, Sanders didn't hesitate to make his feelings clear, and the words sent ripples through both the fan base and pundits alike. "I would never go to that team," he reportedly said, leaving journalists scrambling to interpret whether this was a firm declaration or just a bit of locker room bravado. Of course, the Bears have been a team perennially searching for stability under center, and for months, speculation has swirled about potential acquisitions. In the minds of some, landing a quarterback like Shedeur, with his combination of arm talent and football IQ, could be transformative. Yet, Sanders' blunt dismissal seemingly shuts that door with a finality few expected. The NFL media, known for magnifying even the tiniest remarks, has since dissected every syllable. Analysts are debating whether this statement reflects a personal vendetta, a family loyalty to Deion's coaching stops, or simply a savvy career move, signaling that he's aiming for a franchise with more immediate championship aspirations. The timing, however, adds an extra layer of intrigue. Teams across the league are actively evaluating their quarterback situations ahead of the draft and free agency, and any hint that a top-tier prospect has reservations about a franchise immediately becomes front-page fodder. Social media erupted almost instantly, with Bears fans expressing disappointment, curiosity, and in some cases, outright disbelief. Mock drafts are being updated, pundits are adjusting their narratives, and the rumor mill is humming at full speed. Whether Sanders will stick to this declaration remains to be seen. After all, the NFL is full of dramatic turns and sudden reconciliations. But for now, one thing is clear. The thought of Shedeur Sanders in a Bears uniform is officially off the table, at least according to the man himself. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.